So there's a growing concern for the possibility of food prices doubling or even possibly tripling as a result of inflation and higher costs associated with raw materials and transportation and fuel prices and inflation in general. And this is a growing concern as most middle class workers, like the employees that work here at this Publix, they're barely making ends meet. They're probably a paycheck away from being homeless. And to see food prices double or possibly even triple, putting them in a position where they couldn't even afford to buy food from the place where they work, that's a growing concern that is becoming more and more apparent as each and every day goes by. While another concern is the possibility of the United States, the federal government, the 87,000 new IRS employees, the current Biden administration, Democrats, some Republicans perhaps maybe even, pushing towards a central bank digital currency. And what that means for a lot of folks who don't know that they're at risk. For instance, what does it take to get a bank account, a checking account, somewhere where you can have your checks deposited, whether it's direct deposit or you deposit the money into the account yourself? Oftentimes it takes a credit check and relatively good credit or just not bad credit. But think about the folks out there that can't get a checking account. They don't meet the credit worthiness requirements of the banks to have checking and savings accounts, and they operate on pretty much a cash-based system. Well, with a strong push for a cashless society, which if you guys aren't aware, you may want to check out PFS on YT's latest video about the push and some countries that have already kind of made that transition to a cashless society. But where does that put the folks that aren't eligible, who probably won't qualify to be accepted into the program of this cashless society? How will they get paid? Will they even be eligible if, we see ourselves moving to a 100% digital currency? And these are the things that I think are very, very important and that people need to be paying attention to, especially with the way that the job markets are going. Not only will you have to fight tooth and nail and apply and, be up against multiple other applicants for the particular job that you may be interested in, but also part of the selection process may be the simple fact that the employer has the ability to pay you because you have a central bank or a digital currency based account set up by the central bank, and the government's going to have access to it, and the IRS, and everybody's going to be keeping tabs on you and what you're buying and what you're spending. But does that change your eligibility, the likelihood of you actually being employed? Which employment is tough. We have reports that we have some of the lowest unemployment ever, lowest unemployment in 40 or 50 years or something like that. But I saw a video the other day where there were some employees in training that while in training, they haven't even started their first day of work, because typically it's not a paid training. This is time out of your day, your schedule, unpaid, in hopes of getting a job that's probably going to pay minimum wage, barely enough for anybody to get by on. And they were fired over a Skype or a Zoom or some form of virtual teleconference. They were basically fired before they even got started. That's unreal. Can you imagine spending probably, and you guys let me know if you've been in any of these employee trainings, how long they last. I think they last like 16 hours, like 2 full days, but I don't know that for a fact. I haven't been in any employee trainings in a long time. Never will be again either. But can you imagine spending 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours only to get done, and they say to you, sorry, your position is no longer available. We've eliminated that position within the company, and sorry, we don't need you anymore. What in the hell? But anyway, these are things to take into consideration, things to consider, especially if you guys caught our live stream that we just put up. We had a lot of fun with that live stream. If you didn't make it, if you weren't able to join us, check it out. It should be up now where you can watch it back. But we discussed how businesses are moving to automation and AI technology that is ultimately going to take the place and replace the human component more and more. I even brought you a video several months ago of a restaurant that we ate at where we placed our orders through a QR code using our phones. So we had zero interaction with a server, and then our meals were brought to us by robots. And I think the robots even came to clean up. So this restaurant has moved to almost 100% automation besides the kitchen. And the only employees that were left were really just the ones at the front. There were like 2 or 3 at the front to instruct you where to sit and to scan the QR code. And for a low level positions such as those, I can only imagine that they're barely making minimum wage. There's no way an employer would pay you more. And especially with how tough the economy is right now and how food prices are going through the roof, a restaurant owner here actually told us that they have a struggle buying bread and chicken wings because of how expensive they are, number one. And then number two, the chicken wings are one of the hardest items for them to get because they're in intense competition with, this is a smaller restaurant, not a chain. It's a smaller family-owned restaurant. They're in intense competition with Hooters, with Wingstop, with Buffalo Wild Wings, with Miller's, with, there was another one, I can't remember what it was called, Rings and Things, or Buffalo Rings or something. But the point is, they are pretty much bottom of the list, and their price is considerably higher than the others because they don't command a large purchasing volume. They don't command that bulk discount. They don't have that relationship and reputation, nor do they provide the companies that are providing these foods to these restaurants like Performance Food Group and Cisco and companies like that. They don't provide enough in sales volume to really matter. And this is what causes businesses, and this is what we discussed on the live stream, so you guys should check it out. This is what causes businesses to revamp and either shut down and close or come up with alternative methods to sustain business and reduce their costs. And one of those was actually Panera Bread in New York is testing out automated AI technology in their drive-thrus. And ultimately, that's just going to eliminate more and more employees. I think somebody actually, I have to do the research, but somebody commented that Bed Bath & Beyond is closing 150 stores. Do you know what that means? 150 stores. Can you imagine how many employees that's going to affect? Can you imagine how many supply chains dump into Bed Bath & Beyond that's going to affect? Look, folks, now is the time. Please pay attention. If you are not doing what you need to do to prepare yourself financially, you're probably going to feel a pinch. You're probably going to feel a squeeze really, really soon. Things are getting tight. Businesses are starting to really, really sweat that balance sheet, the profit and loss statements. They're at risk, and they're going to do all they can to maintain operations and maintain some level of profitability. And more than likely, it's going to be at the expense of the employees.